To get the club in the slot, what I'm looking to do is deliver the club to the ball. So I've got this stick down my toe line. I'm looking to, at last parallel, have the club head just inside my hands and just inside the stick. So if my hands, from my point of view, are right over the stick, the club head's just inside of it. I want to get to the ball without hitting the box, hands are forward. And then when I come through here, I want to keep the club head to the right of my hands until I reach parallel to the ground. Club head to the right or inside of my hands, all the way to impact. Club head stays to the right of my hands, all the way to parallel to the ground. So when I'm watching it from this view, that club head is staying to the right of my hands all the way until it gets parallel to the ground. That's both awesome club plane, club slot, and club face control. I want to talk to you today about live view golf. Now, you guys hear me say all the time that you need feedback when you're practicing. You need to know if you're actually doing what you're trying to do, and the best way to give yourself feedback ultimately is video. And not only is video the best way to give yourself feedback, but being able to see yourself simultaneously as you're doing a movement is the best form of video feedback. It's the best way I've seen to make changes in your swing and be able to correlate the differences between your feels and your reels. Live view is super easy to use and set up. Simply set it up behind or in front of you. You connect it with your iPad or phone, pop that on the ground. You can actually do your practice, see yourself as you're doing it, the best way to expedite your process. I encourage you guys to check out Live View Golf. We'll put a link in the description down below with a coupon code. All right, guys, so in today's video, let's talk about how to get the club in the slot during the downswing. Before we dive in and I show you the drills that are gonna work best for you, let's just quick hop over to Analyzer so I can show you what the slot means, then we'll come right back.
Okay, so how we'll look here at Adam Scott and what exactly we mean by getting the club in the slot. I'm going to draw two lines, one through the base of the club and the elbow, and one through the shaft and butt of the club here, or belt line. And so when I draw this up, you're going to see it's going to create a little zone or slot. Now the goal is going to be during the downswing motion. There's various ways during the backswing to do it, but what we're paying attention to is during the downswing, we want to see that club riding really anywhere in between that side. See, that falls right back in that little zone there, and it rides the bottom line into impact. So the shaft's basically right in the middle of those two at impact there, you can see. And then as it rides in, you see the shaft stays in that zone on both. So that's really what getting the club on plane, a good path and in the slot is it rides down there, so the inside of his hand's here. It's in the slot, shaft's right in the middle, and it stays in the middle until about parallel to the ground in the follow through. And that's really the zone you want to pay attention to, is from right about here, club parallel, to right about there. Now let's talk about how we can do this.
Okay, so there we saw what we mean by getting the club in the slot on the downswing. And now what I have here set up is what I think is really the best practice station for getting the club in the slot, working on your club path or swing path to get everything very neutral on both sides like Adam Scott. Now, a couple things here when we set this up. Let's talk about the box, sticks on the ground, how you work this, and what our checkpoints are as we work through here. Now, I'm going to take my setup, and I've got a 7-iron. Obviously, when you're working this works with all clubs, but I have a 7-iron here. Now, I'm going to set up with the ball in a position where my club has about 1 inch or 2 fingers from the edge of my club to the box there. So the edge of my club to the object outside is about 1 inch or 2 fingers. This box that I have here, object outside the ball, is really the perfect station to make sure your downswing doesn't come too far over the top, doesn't come too far inside, and we have that perfect swing direction we want. Now, I have a box here that was a club box, okay? It's probably 4 feet in length, and it's a good foot up in the air. When you set an object outside, it doesn't need to be a box, but it needs to be, the longer it is and the higher it is, the better. So You can get something that's like a wall here would be even better, right? The longer and higher it is, but a club box, shoe box would be okay, a little small, but something like that, about an inch outside the ball. And again, the main purpose, over the top, you're hitting the box. Too far inside out, you're hitting the box. What I want to do is swing like the Adam Scott example. Now, if we look at what his club does, which is why I have the sticks on the ground, to get the club in the slot, what I'm looking to do is deliver the club to the ball. So I've got this stick down my toe line. I'm looking to, at last parallel, have the club head just inside my hands and just inside the stick. So if my hands, from my point of view, are right over the stick, the club head's just inside of it. I want to get to the ball without hitting the box, hands are forward, and then when I come through here, I want to keep the club head to the right of my hands until I reach parallel to the ground. Club head to the right or inside of my hands, all the way to impact. Club head stays to the right of my hands, all the way to parallel to the ground. So when I'm watching it from this view, that club head is staying to the right of my hands all the way until it gets parallel to the ground. That's both awesome club plane, club slot, and club face control. In the beginning of working this drill, that's how I would work that. I would do 1 to 2 rehearsals where I get the club last parallel, hands are over my toes, club head inside. I get 2 impact, and then I keep it to the right of my hands until I get to parallel to the ground. And I'm gonna start to hit shots at about that length swing, 1 to 2 rehearsals, hit a ball, 1 to 2 rehearsals. Now later in the video, I'm gonna show you some add-on stations in case you are too far over the top coming down and the box doesn't do it all for you, or if you're too far under, I'll give you drills to fix that at the end. But this is a great, great, great neutralizer. And so what I would start with is that I do 1 rehearsal here, and you can just use a club on the ground here and then to the right on the way through. And I'm gonna start with just a little half swing. And my objective here is simply to miss the box in the beginning. Now for me, who's someone who goes too far inside out, I hit pushes and hooks. I would never typically hit the box on the way back. I would hit the box past the ball, right? Past the ball if I'm too far inside out. If you're someone who's too far outside in, you would hit the box back here. And that's what's nice about a cardboard box, is if you hit it, nothing's gonna happen, right? So as I come down, same thing, 1 inch outside of it, club head just inside the stick, feel what impact feels like. Club head stays to the right of my hands past there, and I'm just getting used to hitting shots missing the box, which for me takes my push and hook off and hit it straight. This is one I used to do all the time and worked really, 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 really good, and I haven't done it in a while and I should do more. And this would be the same with a wedge, right? Some of you guys are gonna put this box in, some of you are gonna think about putting the box in, but those of you who put the box in, it's gonna feel in your way, okay? So like when I first put this box in and my teacher put it in, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, there's no way I can hit a ball and miss this box. I was swinging a mile to the right. But what I started with was like this, just chip level shots, right? So I'm here and I'm just looking, I just hit a couple like that. I remember grabbing a wedge and hitting it 20, 30 yards thinking like, I don't even know if I'm gonna hit the ball. And then, you know, after a session or two, I could do 3/4 length swings. After a week or two, I could do closer to full swings, and I gathered speed. And I got to the point where I played for a while, imagining the box was outside the ball, and I was neutralizing my swing plane and missing the box and adding speed, and I hit the ball about as straight as I could. So this would be a beautiful starting point that I would do. Every one of us, I think, can get a box and learn how to miss it. Now let's talk about if you are super over the top on the way down, an additional add-on station. Okay, so if you are someone who does struggle with the downswing getting too steep and the box doesn't quite do enough for you, this is the drill that I would add on. Stick behind you through the bucket, and I've got that angled to the point where if I put the club down my toe line, I've only got about 1 inch or 2. And what you want to feel is that club working underneath this stick, which you're going to probably from normal really feel like your arms and hands are lower, closer to you. The club's working from much more lower and inside. This would be the station to use if you're normally too far over the top. So if you're someone on the other end of the spectrum like me, who tends to come too far inside on the way down, this would be the add-on station in addition to the box to help keep you get the club more over the plane or on plane when you start down. So when I set this up, Take my normal takeaway, it's about 3/4 of the way down the shaft. You can see I'm trying to get the rod roughly in line with the middle of my hips from down the line. That's about the rough estimate I'm looking for. Now, if you're someone who's too far under, this is gonna feel like you're gonna need to get the club tipping over a lot more over the top or on plane. But this would be a nice way, along with the box, both of them, to get the club plane more on top. You would expect to see more pulls, little fades with this if you're the player who's too far under. All right guys, so there you saw all of the practice stations and the feels to be able to get the club in the slot and neutralize your swing path or plane. Now, again, caveat with a lot of this stuff. The better your setup is and backswing pieces, the easier those are gonna be. The more kind of off your setup or backswing pieces are, the harder those are gonna be. So make sure you check those pieces first. If you guys did like this video, do us a favor, click that like button. Really helps us out, helps us get our videos out to more people so we can keep making videos for you guys. Click that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching.